Our next keynote speaker is Michael Calogridis, and he has just written, his book is entitled Practical Pricing, Translating Pricing Theory into Sustainable Profit Improvement in December of last year. And his book is based on his experiences in pricing, finance, and management with AT&T, FedEx, Philips, and I believe some other companies. And we're very glad to have him as a presenter.
Price improvement drives revenue growth. Why is pricing important to companies? It's very simple. It's about profitability and increased profitability. For this example, for a $500 million company, each 1% in price improvement adds incremental revenue of $5 million. This type of graph, very simple, very basic, and extremely popular with every CEO I've ever shown it to. Also, VPs of sales, they get it. I think someone had asked a question before, what if you have a CEO that doesn't get it? And I think the answer was a good one. You probably want a different company. This is why companies are interested in pricing programs. This is why they're putting pricing positions in companies. It's very, very simple. It's about money. It's getting the value for the products. One point I always like to say, if you're not getting what your product is worth, then you're essentially giving away some portion of it for free. Why would you want to do that? And the key thing here is 1% sounds fairly small. I mean, this is not a huge company compared to other companies out there, but $5 million in revenue is $5 million in profit. What if you could do that each year? What if you could get 2 or 3 or 4%? The key is getting your customers used to this and getting this to be the behavior and the culture within your company. Unfortunately, pricing is not a revenue growth engine for a lot of companies. Usually companies are not inviting consultants in to talk about pricing when it's going well. They're not establishing pricing programs because it's going really well. It's quite the opposite. They're establishing pricing programs because they're realizing it's failing. Their CFOs are explaining to them that the reason they may not be hitting their quarterly targets is perhaps because price is taking a nosedive. You get issues of VPs of sales saying, all I do are sign exception deals, or our exceptions are out of control, or a lot of our accounts appear to be unprofitable. So a lot of companies, pricing is not a top company priority. However, in the past 5 years, that has changed dramatically. When I first got into pricing 20 years ago, I was working in finance at FedEx, and we were just going into a price war with UPS. Very unfortunate endeavor, and one I hope I never experience again. And we didn't have a pricing function. And the sales director had a couple of special deals. He needed a couple of special deals for a couple of key contracts, and he was looking for someone who would help him with this. And he ended up in front of my desk, and he just looked at me and he said, do you know anything about numbers? I said, well, I'm in finance. I hope I know something about numbers. He said, good enough. Could you do this for me? It's just a couple of deals. I won't bother you again. Well, a couple of deals turned into just about the entire company that they were doing special pricing for. The CEO said, we're not going to lose any account out there on price. And this turned into a pricing job. I didn't know what a pricing job was then. I looked in the New York Times and the Juanes to see how many pricing analysts were listed. I couldn't find one. I think there was one book out there. I think it was the Nagel book. There just wasn't a whole bunch about it. So as I've gone through my years in pricing, I've tried to learn about how it works, what keeps it from not working, really how to make it stick in a company. And I really have seen that it needs to be a top company priority.